Is it going to come up? Hello!
Welcome to our YouTube live stream with Dr. Mark Vaughn and Dr. Wayne Vaughn.
Look at that. My shirt matches.
It's a little weird.
Just blend right in. Good thing we don't have a green screen. I'd be invisible.
I chose to go with the greenish color because it kind of matched our logo.
That green.
There.
I see. Do I blend in? Oop, I have to be the other way.
Kind of. So today's show is titled...
What is the title? What is our title?
Medical news. And that's a really broad topic. So we'll walk you through some of the things that we're thinking about and things that we've been reading in material that we've been getting here in the last week. Darla is here. Hello from Southern California. Why don't we bring her on here and let her be a part of the chat? Thank you, Donna.
Hello.
We appreciate, or Darla, we appreciate you being a part of things. So we'll have the chat open for people to ask questions or even submit their own comments about things that have been medical news here. Try to have be as current and as news as you can.
Yeah.
So we have been
going on in the news.
We've been kind of looking at material that we get on our infectious disease updates on a weekly basis from a local authority on infectious disease who kind of looks over things,
kind of synthesizes everything
and presents it to doctors in our area. We really appreciate his work. And it lately, when it comes to infectious disease, there's been, of course, tracking measles.
The ongoing measles.
And always COVID. And there's some things on that. And then influenza. Those are the big ones right now. I mean, they're not the only ones. There's still Mpox out there. There's still whatever's going on, and some kind of hemorrhagic fever in Central Africa. And tuberculosis. But those are kind of the big ones that we would most focus on right now. Comparing them relatively to each other. So until other comments or questions come in, did you have some opening statement you wanted to?
An opening statement?
An opening volley of...
It sounds like I'm making my case here in a court of law. What is my opening
statement?
Court
of public opinion.
Court of even worse.
People can watch this and comment, so...
Sure. Which one of those do we want to start with? Flu's pretty easy. We're kind of coming to the end of flu season here and haven't seen any... it's kind of continuing to wave down. I believe
officially we're past it.
Yeah. I know. I'm trying to think the last time we had a flu diagnosis in our office. It's probably been at least a month.
Yeah.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, we're pretty good on influenza. The vaccine comes with two influenza A viruses and one B, or sometimes it's 2B, depending on which vaccine you get. And there's the H1N1, which had really good coverage this year, really good. And then there's the H3N5.
Couldn't tell you.
And that one wasn't as right on. And so you can actually have different strains of influenza circulating around the country where one of them is covered really well by the vaccine and the other one not as well.
Yeah.
So you can't necessarily make a single statement of, oh, it's good or oh, it's bad this year.
Right.
It can be both.
Right.
or not bad, but just not as protective.
As effective.
So that's...
I guess along with that, the chicken flu, that is still an ongoing thing. Like the authorities continue to be worried about that.
They're keeping a close eye on that.
It's actually gotten into cows. Yeah. So, and that's kind of where it seems to be a bigger problem, the cross species there. And then the humans have gotten it from cows.
No humans from humans yet.
Not yet, not that we know of. But there are a couple cases that they just don't know how they would have gotten it. So that's concerning. They don't know. But the big thing with the cows is it gets in the milk. Now, if you're drinking pasteurized milk, you're good. It kills all that. But now is not a time to be drinking raw milk, just so you know that. Because
I'm sorry.
I've never recommended it anyways.
There's not really a time for drinking raw cow's milk.
True.
If it can be avoided.
Yeah. Pasteurization process is a good thing.
There's a reason that was that came about by Louis Pasteur.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's the that ongoing thing.
That pulls in this. I almost renamed the show to Trust.
Oh, okay.
Because with medical information, despite the Secretary of Health and Human Services telling people to do their own research, the truth is...
It was only a matter of time before he came into this conversation.
The truth is, very few people actually do medical research.
Right.
And they go to school for a very long time for a reason, because there's a lot to it.
Mm-hmm. To make sure that it is
and they
good
dedicate themselves sometimes years to answer a single specific question.
Yeah.
And even then, sometimes the conclusion they come up with is, well, it looks like this, but more study needs to be done on this aspect of it.
Right.
So for the rest of us, probably what we're actually doing is reading
the research that other people have done. And that means that we need to put trust in other people. So the question is, where
somebody else's summary of somebody else's
where
research.
do you put that trust? Which authority are you going to put trust in? Is it authority just because it was an appointed position, or perhaps authority because someone has a long history of research and an
actual true researcher who knows how it's done and has been in the trenches,
or a somebody who has done the what's called the meta-analyses, or looking at all of the research out there and gathering it together and doing a surveillance of all of that and coming up with a recommendation. There are some governing bodies that do that for vaccines, that do that for preventive recommendations, and those we do trust. We put our trust in a lot of those governing bodies, and even as a family doctor, the American Academy of Family Physicians is a great resource for me as an authoritative body that makes recommendations as well.
And then there's others that I don't know that I'd say they're authoritative, but we look at them, we consider them, like Cochrane reviews.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So meta-analysis is where you do an analysis of the studies that were done on something, the experiments.
Yeah, bring them all together, and the more the better.
And then compare them against each other.
Yeah.
And try to come up with a way to kind of weigh some differently from others, because not all studies are of the same value or have the same quality of...
Right, and the idea is that if you can get more, first of all, you're going to have a higher power or more people involved in the study that were studied, or disease processes, and you start to minimize or wean out some of those biases that you get in each of those individual studies.
Okay, we should get caught up on some really, really thoughtful questions.
Yeah.
Like,
hey,
Lindsay.
There you go.
Welcome, Lindsay. Everybody should be more like Lindsay. So no doing shots of raw milk with RFK.
Probably not a good idea.
I guess you live close. Lindsay lives close enough that she maybe could come up with, driving there within a day.
And with RFK. I would not do shots of anything.
And having a really good conversation with him. RFK doesn't like shots. Let's
Probably
just say
not.
That.
Oh.
Okay, Darla, RSV. Oh,
hey, RSV. We didn't mention that one.
The reason we didn't mention RSV is because it's a non-issue this time of year.
We're out of the season. Yes,
but we do want you to get your shot if you're age 60 and older or have respiratory illness before next RSV season. So if you're a patient of ours, we expect to have the vaccine in our office for the fall time when we get everybody in for getting their flu shots.
Yep.
So thank you, Darla. We appreciate that.
So, yeah.
Sorry, I got
the RSV. RSV is nice because it's a one and done vaccine. It's not a yearly vaccine
or a double dose. Or,
not like the shingles where you got to go back. It's just one and done, and pretty good protection recommended for everyone over the age of 75, and those 60 and older with high risk conditions.
No, the latest one for me was when surprise. the pneumonia shots recommend for everybody 50 and over. So that's why I had to get it last month.
Still avoiding that one. But it's just because I'm GO.
You're not there yet.
Not because I'm avoiding the shot.
So the idea of the authority, you make a very good point. I do understand that a public figure has told people they have to do their own research and not to trust doctors.
No, he said don't trust those in authority. The person in authority was saying don't trust those in authority.
Yeah. So the irony of that reinforces our point that everybody has to put trust somewhere because nobody does all the research themselves. Those people who actually do the research are only doing research on one specific question within the field that they work in. So they don't even do all the research on a specific topic. So everybody is either reading other people's research or digesting or taking in somebody else's digestion of.
Right.
And so we look to Dr. Eisenberg for a lot of ID stuff because he's somebody we know and trust and gives us, to more and more extent, all the time, we're trusting AI tools that you need to be careful with.
Fortunately, the one we use has the reference to those studies that it's referencing. It is in one of RFK Jr.'s talks at some point along the line, he said that he was skilled in reading science and differentiating it from junk science. Yet,
we've seen some,
you dissect some of the things he says, some of the statistics he throws out. For example, he threw out that 50% of Chinese people are now diabetic. What? Like the stats that he throws out are just wacko. I don't know where he it questions whether he's even reading things correctly in good science, but his percentages are just so way off. Like the tough thing is when somebody
he actually puts it in his book too.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
Really
when
wacko.
That was about
no point of reference.
Rotavirus, which rotavirus is an amazing vaccine, which is very effective. But throwing things out where people track it down and they point it out and they're like, that's not even correct. Like the statement does not match up with. So this whole saying that he's an authority, saying that he can read science, and then making statements that are authoritative statements is worrisome.
But yet saying don't trust.
But saying don't trust, and true, you're right that when he said don't trust those in authority, it was a question from a interviewer specifically about whether people should trust their doctors, and that was the one that got us a little, rifled under the feathers. That's
so. Who is it
concerning?
That you're gonna trust?
We all have our shortcomings, sure,
because
but
who are
you gonna trust? That's the question.
They're not conducting their own trials. They're getting information from our viewers are getting information from somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
So where are you
social media is a common one. I mean, as I'm thumbing through Facebook on occasion, some of the things people put out, or even the statements people make.
Yeah.
People asking Facebook for medical advice. Sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness. Like crazy stuff.
So everybody puts some trust in someone, and you have to have a way of justifying that. You have to have some basic principles you base that on.
Right.
And one of them is experience. Hey,
sure.
A doctor told me this and it was absolutely wrong. That would impact your future
whether you trust doctors.
tendency to trust. Absolutely it would. Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to come up with a way. So who are you going to trust instead? A chiropractor? A naturopath?
Yeah. And the tough thing is, as doctors, we have 15, 30 minutes with you often, if we're seeing someone often, every 3 months maybe. And that versus, hours and hours of them being on whatever their favorite social media is being fed.
Which is being reinforced.
Often, statistics that are wrong, or case reports, people telling their own stories which don't always match up with science, or getting third, fourth, fifth degree information that has somehow confirms their biases. These are all things that are tough when you're trying to convince somebody in a short setting like that, 30 minutes, to say, hey, This is what the research says. This is what we do for a living.
And there's something about repetition over time that they're getting. It's not only the total amount of time; it's the repetition.
Right.
We get to say it once.
Yep. Yeah. And so it's hard sometimes to get through. And so I know you'll ask people this. I've asked people this sometimes. Have a patient in front of us and just ask them, "Hey, is there anything I can tell you that would help you?"
The religion question.
That would help you. Yeah. That would make you change your mind. And when they say no, that it's no longer somebody who is looking for reason or looking for.
It's no longer about evidence. It's about a decision of faith that was made to put their faith into
whatever that is.
Some stand before they got to us. And okay.
Which is
let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah. Because it is kind of
you're
wasting.
A true believer in whatever that belief system is that you're a part of.
Right. It's frustrating. It's hard.
Yeah. So, Lindsay, anecdotal evidence from personal stories also doesn't make someone an absolute expert, which hold on, which most folks on social media would do well to remember. I could talk forever on this stuff. Join the crowd. Yes. The anecdotal evidence is the availability bias.
Yeah.
For those of you who study these sorts of ways that we determine what truth is and how we get influence. And it's very difficult to overcome for everybody, even at the highest.
Everyone has those biases,
for those of us on this side of the camera, it's you have to recognize them. The whole thing about unrecognized bias.
Unconscious
bias.
Yeah.
Yeah, an availability bias can often be an unconscious bias. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know it's there, it's very hard to overcome it.
Yeah. And with
which is why, excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Which is why you should always be a little non-committal and unsure of your stand.
Yeah.
Because you may not know of a bias that's influencing you. Sorry, go ahead.
That's good. I appreciate that. But I just wanted to comment that the way that social media algorithms work, they are feeding off of availability biases because it just keeps feeding you that thing. Oh, this confirms what I believe, and then it'll feed you more and more and more. So you just keep going down that rabbit hole.
And we do too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is everyone. So it's something that you constantly need to be on the lookout for.
So a little trick that I'll do when I read something on social media and I go, ooh,
I'll look it
juicy.
Up. Before you post it and move it on.
Let's get on a browser. Let's search for whatever the question or the topic is.
Whatever the
put
comment
the word
is.
News and see what the news sources are.
Sure.
Are these reputable journalists reporting on whatever it is?
Yeah, I've done that before, and there's some random thing that comes up at the top that it's not a common news thing. You're like, wow, okay, that's not real.
And Lindsay saying, people saying they took random supplement and they were magically cured. It's all over social media.
Yeah.
Yes, and people are making money off of it.
Are they selling it? Yep. Who is selling it?
And
that's always the question.
And of
Follow
course they
the
get
money.
People who will be trusting and.
Yeah, that's tough.
What do you know? Just throw out the example of how many people out there got a cold years ago and never got over it. They still have that cold.
What? Yeah.
That resolves spontaneously.
It's because
But they're going to attribute it to whatever they took, the Zicam
that was at
or
that
the
point. Yep.
Whatever you put in your drink. And good point, Lindsay and Twine.
Yeah, the tough thing is there are, maybe two categories here. There may be more, but there are those who are the true believers who read the stuff and believe it and pass it on because they believe it's true. And then there's the bad actors. And unfortunately, the bad actors often are, they're just making money off this. They're just trying to rile up a crowd, have you buy their supplement, come to their site, read their ads, watch their videos.
Now, there's two versions of the bad actor.
Yeah.
One is the one who knows it and is doing it for self-gain.
Yeah.
Then there's the other one who doesn't realize it, and they don't know what they don't know. Look up Dunning-Kruger effect or watch a YouTube video on that. And those people oftentimes, particularly if they're in a position of Secretary of Health and Human Services, are very, very badly negligent, because you should have done the work to
if you're influencing
know
many
the
people.
Information. And so you're actually liable for your ignorance in that situation.
Yeah, and I know I'm keenly aware of that in my position, being influential on the health of my patients. So if I don't know something, I will tell people I don't know that. I need to look that up.
Patients see us look up stuff a lot.
Yeah.
To try out the latest and accurate information on whatever the topic is.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Laura Webb says, I like commercial where the lady took said pill
and walked 6 miles. I don't know that commercial.
No, we don't watch commercial television, do we?
Is it because of the pill?
I'll have patients come in with stuff out of their AARP magazine, or talk about a television commercial on daytime television, or some kind of a periodical that they subscribe to. And I have a hard time, the question that goes through my head is, why is it this you brought me, of all the junk that you are exposed to? Why this particular one you ask me about, and not all the rest of it? How does this somehow earn its way up to even be in the conversation? That's what I wonder.
Yeah. And how much didn't make it that far and is just part of their lives and accepted.
And one of my regular ways of dealing with it is to look for the black box. So a black box is a black rectangle, a rectangular line around a statement. So there'll be some sentences in it, and usually it says something to the effect of, this product not intended to diagnose or treat,
cure, treat,
something along those lines,
or has not been approved by the FDA to do any of the things
that that's usually how it's worded. So do me a favor and look for the black box first, because that means that whoever's putting this out is admitting that the FDA has not found it to be either safe or effective. And
sometimes harmful.
So the only party telling you that it is whoever's selling it to you and making $1 off of it, and probably is not a medical doctor. Almost always is not. Sometimes medical doctors participate in that kind of business, but usually not.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think the AMA has a statement against selling stuff in your office.
Oh.
Not just supplements, but even just like prescriptions that you're prescribing.
There goes my side business.
Well, we've looked into it before, and then we found that out.
Not selling anything.
Knocked us back again on. It'd just be so helpful for the things that we prescribe out of our office. So like a course of antibiotics or something. So convenient to have it for a discounted price that they wouldn't have to go to the pharmacy. I can understand
that you would then have a incentive to prescribe that specific antibiotic versus something that may be a better one or a more appropriate.
Well, that's why we would only get the ones that are on the recommended list. Okay, enough of that. Enough of me justifying that.
Justify it.
What do we have here? We've got. Lindsay uses the term proprietary blend.
They always have a proprietary blend
of
some things that you've heard of and haven't heard of.
That reminds me of the, is it a copyright on the intellectual property? Thomas's English Muffins. Have you heard that one?
Oh, did you listen to that one?
I listened to that one.
Yeah, now you know what podcast we listen to.
Yeah, now you know. Missy's also saying, how can someone get Ozempic less than $100 a month?
Have very good insurance.
It's not going to be Ozempic, or it's going to be stolen.
Yeah, if you're getting actual Ozempic from the pharmacy for less than $100 a month, it's because you have a Cadillac insurance plan that covers a lot.
Okay, so
That's the only way I know.
There could be that.
But real Ozempic for that much.
It could be a GLP-1 inhibitor or agonist, a GLP-1 agonist that's not FDA approved.
It could be.
So it actually be in the same class and may get the same effects and may be as safe.
Yep.
Notice these statements.
If you're looking for Ozempic, because that's what you wrote in your comment there, unlikely. It's unlikely you're going to find that.
And there may be people using these non-FDA approved GLP-1 agonists getting the benefits and not having increased risk. But even Ozempic has risk.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
there is a warning on it about pancreatic cancer.
We discuss that with our patients very clearly. I ask every single person do you have multiple independent neoplasia with the thyroid
personal
cancer,
history or family history of
pancreatitis or pancreatic cancer? We ask everybody that because those are black box warnings for those medications, which I'm
different black box.
Sorry, different black box than the black box you were talking about.
Same little rectangular box, but different. And Laura Webb's saying, yes, she was a person that worked as an EMT.
The person who could walk after taking a supplement.
Couldn't do that anymore, but after taking the supplement was able to walk 6 months, and then she fell over dead.
Okay. Don't know what the supplement was. I'm sure that did it, though.
But it wasn't the cause of her death. That must have been something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. The whole question of causation.
Oh, yeah.
Does correlation mean causation? We can make all sorts of correlation.
Yeah. Did you know, talking about that sort of thing, autism is on the rise. We've been diagnosing it more. And the little graph that goes up almost perfectly follows the availability of organic foods.
And the release of the Chevy Corvette.
So what caused it?
Which one? Which one of those is responsible for it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Causation or correlation, not causation.
Yeah.
Just because things happen at the same time, like when we diagnose autism, typically around age 1 or 2 is right when you finish off and get those vaccines at age 1. It's been studied. There's not a cause there. We know that.
They've compared the people who get the vaccine with the people who don't, and they found out that there's not a difference in
rates are exactly the
groups.
Same. Yep.
Autism is on the rise, though, as is people being aware of it and thinking of it as a diagnosis.
Yeah, being more into it, and this whole thing. I can talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that on another show.
Maybe we'll talk about that on another show.
The whole RFK looking into. I'm going to know the cause of autism by the end of September something. His claim is ridiculous. Okay, there are studies. Anyways, I can.
So there is something we need to get to, and that's the very important topic of my song that I am recording. And that I played in a premiere performance of it at the Fig Tree a week ago. And it is on YouTube, the Dr. Vaughn YouTube channel. There's a link in the description. And you know what? If you wanted to play the playlist of the 2 songs I have on there on repeat on your YouTube, you can do that.
While you're doing laundry. While you're making dinner.
You can share it with your friends. So this most recent song, actually, when I played it, there was a couple. Now, when I played at the Fig Tree, it's a coffee shop, and it's open mic night. And a lot of the other people playing are half my age. And then there's me.
It wasn't me.
Yeah. So... the song, I played it, and there were a couple of parents there, and they walked by where I was sitting on their way out, and they expressed to me that song really touched them. It's about a family dealing with kind of the decision of hospice and to do the big, overwhelming, all-in treatment, or to go with hospice and focus on other things, quality of life. So if you find that song, whoa, that really does hit it, and I know somebody who's going through that.
Yeah, sure.
It may be very meaningful to them. So,
Yeah, I listened to it. I watched it.
oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
That's good.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Dr. Gwayne says it's good. We also have Missy has an autistic son, and I think it was either
That's
hereditary or lead in the water or something else. Definitely we'll check it out.
There are about 200 genes, I believe, that they've identified that can lead to autism. There are also early interutero things that can happen that can cause it as well. So yes, both hereditary and exposure or environmental things that we know about.
And exposure things can happen, like you said, in utero.
Yeah.
There's hormonal influences that can.
There's a lot of developing going
the way
on
the brain
in
develops.
those 9 months, and then
Absolutely.
there's a lot of developing that goes on in the first few years
I
of
was going
life
to say,
as
even
well.
after delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, there.
Well, Dr. Gwayne, thank you so much. We actually went over our usual time, so
at that.
thank you for sticking with us. Please check out the link to the song and comment on it on the Dr. Vaughn YouTube channel, not on this one. Until next time,
Hey, I'm Dr. Gwayne Vaughn.
Dr. Mark Vaughn telling you to stay in good health. How do you stop this thing?
Doctors, thank you for another informative session. Auburn Medical Group is located in Auburn, California, USA. Thank you for participating. Please tell a friend and join us again next week.